Denny Hamlin just watched one of his own drivers win at Indianapolis again, and he still walked away from the Brickyard without the one thing that keeps eluding him there. But here's the thing, that frustration comes at the exact moment NASCAR hits a rare week off. And for Hamlin and a handful of other contenders, the timing could not matter more. And hey, real quick, if you are a true NASCAR fan like me, go ahead and drop a like and subscribe to the channel. NASCAR Nation news is just getting started. We are pushing for our next subscriber milestone, and it's all about real talk from fans who live this sport every week. All right, let's get into it. Let's start with Denny Hamlin, because his weekend at Indianapolis really sums up where he's at right now. His 23XI racing driver, Corey Heim, reached victory lane at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a crown jewel race. Again, but for Hamlin himself, it was another reminder of just how tough that track has been for him personally. 18 career starts at the Brickyard 400, and still no win. This time, he settled for another top 5 finish. Now, here's the good news for Hamlin. All is not lost. At 45 years old, he heads into this rare mid-season weekend off still leading the point standings. He's one of 4 drivers already locked into the playoffs, and he's second in the series in wins. While everyone else spends the next 4 races fighting over the remaining 12 playoff spots, Hamlin gets to use this break a little differently, to start game planning toward the one thing still missing from his resume, a Cup Series championship. When Hamlin was asked in Indianapolis about a possible retirement after next season, he kept things pretty grounded. He said he hasn't really thought too much about the future, that Joe Gibbs Racing has good plans in place, and that he hasn't had any second thoughts about it. In his words, he's just riding the wave week to week and continuing to try to get more wins. So, no retirement talk locked in. Just focus for now on the job in front of him. Let's move to Tyler Reddick, because his season tells its own story. Reddick owns a season-best 5 wins, and he sits second in the overall point standings. But he hasn't found victory lane since Kansas back in April. At Indianapolis, the 23XI driver actually qualified 3rd, but ended up finishing 10th. Then there's Ryan Blaney, sitting 3rd in points. Blaney had put together a streak of 11 consecutive top 11 finishes, a really strong run, but that streak got snapped at Indy's 25-mile oval. He got caught up in a late 9-car crash, and it dropped him all the way down to 26th. On top of the finish, that wreck also cost him the $1 million in-season challenge prize. That's a brutal way to see a streak like that come to an end. Now, on the flip side, Hamlin's teammate Ty Gibbs had himself a solid weekend. Gibbs officially clinched the 4th playoff spot. He earned points in both of the first 2 stages, led the second most laps of the race with 46, and crossed the line 12th at the Brickyard. That's exactly the kind of consistent day that locks in a playoff spot. Pole winner Carson Hocevar is another name worth watching. He posted his 2nd top 10 finish in 3 weeks. And that's notable, because before that stretch, he had managed just 2 top 10s in the 8 weeks leading up to Atlanta. Right now, Hocevar sits 5th in the standings. But it hasn't just been the newer names dealing with struggles. Even former series champions have hit rough patches. Ryan Blaney, the 2023 champion, is one example with that late Indy crash. Chase Elliott, the 2020 Cup winner, has now finished outside the top 10 in 8 consecutive races. And defending Cup champion Kyle Larson saw his winless streak reach 46 races after a flat left rear tire sent him hard into the wall at Indianapolis. The finishing results at Indy tell the story clearly. Elliott crossed the line 37th, Larson ended up last in the 39-car field. Even with all that, Elliott still sits 6th in points and Larson is 8th. Both of them still have time to turn things around. Elliott summed up the mindset pretty well himself. He said storylines can change quick, as everyone knows, and that 3 weeks of running good could have people talking about these same guys as championship favorites again. So what happens once this break ends? The intensity and the pressure crank right back up. The schedule picks back up with Iowa on August 9th, followed by Richmond, then New Hampshire. At New Hampshire, practice sessions will actually be extended, from 25 minutes up to 50 minutes. After that comes the regular season finale at Daytona. That's the race where the field gets set. 16 playoff contestants heading into a 10-week shootout for the championship. For a lot of drivers, that Iowa stop at the 8-5-mile oval will be a welcome change of pace, simply because so many of them grew up racing on short tracks just like it. Ross Chastain touched on that exact point. He's currently fighting to work his way into the playoffs with no wins so far and sitting 21st in points. Chastain said he grew up on a 3/8 mile asphalt track that was similarly shaped to Iowa, and that it feels a lot closer to what he ran for so much of his childhood. More natural to him than a big oval like Indianapolis. And that brings us back to Hamlin, because even with this week off, the break is really just a pause before the high-stakes stretch still to come. His partnership with Michael Jordan through 23XI Racing has helped extend his legacy in this sport even as he keeps chasing two of the Cup Series' biggest prizes. Hamlin put it simply. He said it's great. They've been able to make the changes they have and build this race team into championship contenders, and that it's exceeded all the expectations he had for it in such a short amount of time. He called it an honor to be amongst a lot of the sport's greats. So, to recap where things stand, Hamlin leads the points and is already locked into the playoffs, but still chasing that elusive Brickyard win and a first Cup title. Reddick's got 5 wins but hasn't visited victory lane since April. Blaney's strong streak just got snapped at the worst possible time, and former champions like Elliott and Larson are proving that even the best in the sport aren't immune to a rough stretch. So here's my question for you. Out of everyone we just talked about, who do you think turns it around first once the playoffs start? Drop your pick in the comments. If you enjoy breaking this down with me, make sure you're subscribed to NASCAR Nation News, drop a like on your way out, and I'll see you in the next one.